What's up guys, Elfis here, and today we're going to be doing another episode of HoN Tips. And today's HoN Tips is going to be when to get mid-rune, and I am going to go ahead and pick a mid-hero. Just for an example, I'm going to pick Devour because I love Devour. Anybody who watches these regularly knows that. But so basically this episode is just going to cover when to get mid-rune, when to get rune as mid lane. Now obviously everybody should know, or most people know at least that sorry about that, I hit my mic. Most people know at least that mid spawn or rune spawns every 2 minutes on the 2 minute mark. So it doesn't spawn at 0, it'll spawn at 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc, etc, etc. So basically I'm gonna go ahead and just pick normal starting items. Now I'm actually gonna grab a bottle as well, just to emphasize a point. You may not have a bottle at the first 2 minute rune, and that's okay. It's more so to emphasize a point than to actually show you that you need a bottle to do this. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm not going to creep block, although I will say you should creep block. I'm just not going to creep block because that's not what this episode's about. So I'm going to be doing a number of playing mid episodes in the tips category. So I mean, keep an eye out for those. This is the first one. So the way to get mid rune, and how do I say this? The way to get mid rune is you want to get it without anyone contesting you. You don't want to have to fight somebody for it, obviously. You would love it if you could just walk over, grab your rune, head back to lane, go pick up some farming kills, alright? That's great, especially as Devourer, but that's great as anybody. Although actually Devourer, if you try and contest him for rune, usually it ends up with you dying. Depending on the hero you're playing, of course, but and your skill. But so what we're going to do is we're going to get to the 2 minute mark, and actually I probably will just spawn runes is what I'll do. I'll spawn tablets, and I'll actually spawn a ward, because in this scenario, I want everybody to realize that there should be a ward on your rune by the 2 minute mark. Now, whether or not there is a different case entirely, okay? I'm not saying there will be. That kind of depends on the team a little bit, but there should be. So I don't want to harp on that too much, but there should be a rune. Obviously there may not be, depending on just depending on your team and things of that nature. But so we're going to just push up the lane here a little bit, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. So I'll do it at the next spawn here. So at the minute rune, there's no minute rune, at the minute mark, I'm going to show you how to do it. So we're going to start pushing up the lane here. This is the way to do it. You don't want to auto attack necessarily. Oops, I hit caps lock instead of A. You don't want to auto attack necessarily. You just want to make sure that the lane, that your creeps are winning, but you don't want to miss last hits in the process. You can do both if you're good enough at last hitting. There should be a way for you to get last hits as well as push the lane up. And this is it. So now we see the lanes right about here. Now we're going to turn on our decay. This is for Devour. For any other hero, you pretty much just, oops, I missed one. You just use your other skills to farm, or not to farm, to push the lane. So basically you get the last creep kill. You should have about a full wave at about the next 30 seconds, and then we're going to go for the rune. And the reason we do this before going for the rune, now obviously I did this at the 1 minute mark, and then it was ready at about 30 second. You would probably do that at about the, actually about the 1 minute mark, and then be ready for the 30-second mark, and then either guess for a rune, or have somebody cover the next one, or you could do it at the 1:30 mark, and you just have to speed it up a little bit. Turn your decay on, one wave earlier, and then it'd be about ready at about the 2 minute mark, if you did it correctly. It takes a little bit of practice to get the timings down right, for obvious reasons, because you're kind of depending on these timings to be able to get the lane where you want it to be at the right time. I know that's kind of redundant. You're depending on the timings to get the lane where you want to be at the right time, but so the way you want to do it is, and the reason we're going to do this, the reason we're pushing the lane up like this, and you can do it continuously actually if you want, although I wouldn't recommend it. As Devourer, I think it's okay because he's Devourer and he can kind of do whatever he wants, but because there's few mid heroes who should be able to kill him. Now obviously if there was an enemy here, which there would be in a normal game, they would be pushing back and things of that nature, but that's not really what we care about. What we care about is just making sure that we are pushing significantly enough to make sure that the lane gets up enough so that we can grab the rune without contest. Now, the reason we're going to do this, I know I've said it a couple times, but I haven't actually gone over it. The reason we're pushing up is because the easiest way to get a rune without contest is that we want to make sure the enemy hero, the enemy solo mid lane, has to stay here. Because usually you don't want your tower to take this amount of damage in 3.5 minutes. That's kind of a lot of damage for 3.5 minutes. Now, if you look at the other lanes, they haven't even been touched yet, and the reason for that is because, this one just slightly, and the reason for that is because they aren't pushing. You know what I mean? Those lanes aren't pushing, and that's totally fine. They shouldn't be, but damn it, I missed one. But so basically, we're doing this. We're pushing up a little bit. We may be sacrificing a few last hits here and there, but Rune is far more important than a couple last hits. What I will say is Rune's pretty important, but I don't know if it's necessarily more important than all of your last hits, so I wouldn't start sacrificing every last hit, just, auto-attacking the wave just to get the rune. So you really want to be on the ball at the 4-minute mark. I was a little bit delayed there. You're okay to delay going for the rune as long as you know the other mid lane isn't going for it. So if the other mid lane's going for it, you need to go. You need to go, especially as Devourer, because you can fight that easy. If you're a hero that can't fight that, then it changes a little bit, but... And, in sense that you have to concede it if they're going first. If you don't have a blink to get there before them, and you can't fight them for it, then you have to concede the rune, and you just have to focus on getting last hits and either pushing the lane or something along those lines. Now, what I do want to mention is just one more thing real quick, is that once you get the rune, you shouldn't be overly cocky just because you have the rune. Now, some heroes need the rune for, they just need runes to be able to survive in mid. Devourer is not one of them. Soul Stealer is one of them, kind of, depending on who he's up against. If you watched the video the other day where I lost mid as Nomad against a Soul Stealer, the only reason he won that lane is because he got the first rune, because I was stupid and let him get it. If he hadn't gotten that first rune, if I had gotten it, he would have lost that lane, because Soul Stealer needs runes to maintain the lane. Now, some heroes need them, but just make sure you don't get overly cocky once you get a rune, because it's kind of a big deal if you get overly cocky and feed because you have a rune now. So don't do that. Make sure, as Devourer, I'm always overly cocky because you're Devourer and you can get kills early so easy. But you really need to be careful on that. Other than that, though, that's pretty much how you get a rune. You want to try and make sure that they're here. Now, in some of the higher tier games, the supports will help them. They'll go babysit the rune until they can get there. That won't really help. That won't really happen in these lower tier games, so you won't really have to worry about that. Anybody who's like 1600 or below, that's very rarely going to happen. Should have turned on my decay there to get that last hit, but it's okay. So that won't really happen, but in the higher tier games, that will happen, so keep that in mind if you're a 1700 player or something like that. But you probably already know how to get Rune anyway, so I don't know why you'd be watching this video. But if you're trying to learn mid and you're like a support player, then hello, and hope you learn something. But so yeah, keep that in mind, that in lower tier it's not going to make a difference. In upper tier, though, it will be significantly different. Because their supports should be helping them. They don't always, but they should be. Other than that, though, guys, that's all I really wanted to cover. That's how you get Rune as a mid lane. Fairly easy. If you can push the lane up, make sure he can't leave, then it's fine. Just keep an eye out. If he leaves before you, remember what I said. You either need to leave to fight him for it, if you can fight him for it, or you need to concede it and try and make some damage on his tower or something along those lines before he gets back, because it's not okay to just let him get the rune and then call it a day. Other than that, though, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something. Like and subscribe if you want. You guys know where those buttons are. Hit them if you want. I try to put out 3 to 5 videos a week. Usually in the higher end of that, usually closer to 5, but hey, you never know. Other than that, there's always at least like 3, unless I say that I'm behind or something like that, or really busy. But so other than that, guys, thank you for watching. Also, you could hit the dislike button if you choose to do that, but please tell me why. I'd appreciate it. And other than that, this has been how to get the Rune as mid fairly easy. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys learned something. And I will talk to you guys later. GG, well played, guys. Elfis out.